Today's briefing covers a confirmed inbox breach at the top of U.S. law enforcement, a widely used WordPress plugin flaw that exposes server files, and a fresh software supply chain compromise hiding a stealer in an audio file. Here's what changed, why it matters, and the actions defenders should prioritize now. Welcome back. My goal is to keep you operationally current in a few focused minutes. I'll outline the essential facts, connect the risk, and leave you with clear next steps you can apply across your environment. First, the FBI has confirmed a hack of Director Patel's personal email inbox. Threat actors known as Handala, associated with Iran, breached the personal account of FBI Director Kash Patel and published photos and documents they accessed. The key facts are straightforward. This is a personal mailbox, the compromise is confirmed, and at least some materials have been released publicly. There's no additional follow-up context yet, including scope beyond the personal account or whether any contacts or content in the inbox link to official business. Why this matters: confirmed exposure resets risk calculations. Even when the target is a personal account, materials, contacts, and timelines can feed high-quality phishing, impersonation, and social engineering against agencies, vendors, and partners. Publicly posted artifacts can also be selectively framed to erode trust or to seed disinformation campaigns. Defender takeaway: expand monitoring for impersonation and targeted phishing that reference the leaked materials or the individual by name and role. Treat unexpected outreach that leverages personal context details as high risk. For organizations with executive protection programs, revalidate VIP email hygiene, enforce phishing-resistant MFA, disable legacy protocols on personal accounts where possible, and rehearse rapid credential resets. If your environment intersects with the individual or their immediate network, trigger contact verification procedures and document any attempted outreach that deviates from known channels. Next, a file read flaw in the SmartSlider 3 WordPress plugin could expose server files to lower privileged users. The plugin is active on more than 800,000 websites, and the vulnerability allows accounts with subscriber-level permissions to access arbitrary files on the server. This is the latest development in an ongoing issue we've been tracking around plugin-driven exposure on WordPress sites. The impact is direct. Arbitrary file read opens a path to sensitive configuration data, tokens, and keys, and could enable lateral access depending on what's stored on the host. Even if remote code execution isn't on the table, file disclosure can be enough to escalate privileges or pivot to databases and adjacent services. Defender takeaway: prioritize patching the plugin immediately. Audit plugin usage, and enforce strict privilege boundaries between user roles. Monitor for unusual changes in file access patterns, and validate that all sensitive files and configurations are properly protected. Also review logging for abnormal file reads. That's the summary. Update SmartSlider 3 to the latest patched version as a priority change. Review your WordPress role assignments and prune subscriber accounts, especially dormant or mass-created users. Restrict access to sensitive paths at the web server and WAF layers, and consider disabling the plugin where it's not essential. Increase logging around file access and plugin endpoints, then hunt for signs of exploitation by reviewing recent access to configuration files and other sensitive directories. As a general control, isolate WordPress file system permissions so that the web process cannot read beyond what's necessary for site operation, and ensure secrets are not stored in web-accessible locations. Finally, Team PCP has pushed malicious versions of the Telnix Python package to PyPI, hiding a credential stealer inside a .wav file. The two compromised versions are 4.87.1 and 4.87.2, both published to PyPI on March 27, 2026. This follows earlier supply chain activity tied to the same actor that targeted projects including Trivi, Kix, and Litelm. In this case, the data harvesting capability was concealed within an audio file to evade casual inspection and static checks. Why this matters: developer environments and CI/CD pipelines are high-leverage targets. If these versions were fetched into applications, build systems, or notebooks, credentials and tokens used by those processes may be exposed. Because package managers auto-resolve the latest compatible versions, even a brief exposure window can translate into broad, silent uptake. Defender takeaway: immediately inventory where Telnix is used and determine whether versions 4.87.1 or 4.87.2 were ever installed in development, CI, or production. If found, Remove the package, clear caches and lock files, reinstall a known good version, and rebuild artifacts. Rotate any secrets, API keys, and tokens accessible to affected processes during the exposure window. Review logs for unusual outbound connections from build agents and developer workstations. Longer term, pin package versions, enable dependency allow listing, and integrate software composition analysis into pipelines to alert on sudden publisher or behavior changes. Require code review for dependency updates, and consider mirroring critical packages to an internal registry with provenance checks. That's the roundup. If this helped you prioritize your next actions, subscribe and share it with a teammate who handles updates and dependency hygiene. Drop a comment with what you want triage next, and stay safe out there.